When you choose not to chase her, the first thing she secretly feels is your confidence. Confidence isn't just about how you walk or how you talk, it's about the energy you give off, the steady calm that says you know your value and you don't need to prove it to anyone. Most guys, when a woman pulls back or becomes distant, go into panic mode. They blow up her phone, they demand answers, they try to win her over with more effort. What that really communicates is insecurity. It tells her that your world revolves around her approval, and without her attention, you lose your balance. But when you resist that urge and instead hold your ground, it shows a very different message. You're in control of yourself, and your happiness isn't tied to her reactions. That kind of energy is rare, and women can feel it instantly. It's almost like a shift in the atmosphere. She may have expected you to run after her to beg for her time or to compete for her attention. When you don't, she notices. At first, it might confuse her, but that confusion quickly turns into curiosity. Why isn't he chasing me? Does he not care? Or is he just that secure in himself? Those questions highlight your strength without you saying a single word. Confidence is magnetic because it creates safety. A woman wants to feel like the man she's drawn to can handle himself no matter what life throws his way. If a little distance from her doesn't shake you, it reassures her that you won't crumble under bigger challenges either. And while she may not admit it out loud, she respects you more when you don't chase. She sees that you're willing to walk away rather than sacrifice your dignity. That self respect creates an invisible boundary, and boundaries are deeply attractive because they prove you're not desperate. Another reason confidence is so powerful is because it allows space for feelings to grow. Chasing often suffocates attraction. When you flood her with attention, she doesn't have time to miss you. But when you hold back and remain centered, you give her space to wonder about you, to think about you, and to feel the absence of your energy. That's when she realizes the difference between a man who needs her validation and a man who knows his worth. The latter always stands out. So while it may seem subtle, not chasing communicates a very loud message. I'm confident enough to let things unfold naturally. I don't need to force you to choose me because I already know what I bring to the table. That unspoken confidence is exactly what makes her stop and feel something deeper. Because when you don't chase, she secretly feels your strength, and that's what draws her closer. When you don't chase her, something powerful begins to happen in her mind. She starts to wonder about you. Instead of knowing exactly where you stand because you're constantly calling, texting, or trying to get her attention, there's now space. And in that space, curiosity grows. Women are naturally drawn to mystery, to the unknown, to the man they can't fully figure out. When you're always available, there's no mystery, nothing left to wonder about. But when you step back and let her come to you, you suddenly become someone she has to think about when the silence sets in. That wondering usually begins with small thoughts. She might ask herself, why hasn't he texted me yet? Or what's he doing right now? Those thoughts seem minor, but they build over time. The less information she has about what's going on in your world, the more her imagination fills in the gaps. And often her imagination paints you an even more attractive light than reality. She might picture you out with friends, focused on your goals, laughing, enjoying life without needing her validation. That image makes her question why she's not the center of your focus anymore. The wondering creates tension, and tension is one of the strongest drivers of attraction. It's not about playing games, it's about allowing her to experience the natural pull that comes when a man refuses to throw himself at her feet. If she thought she had you figured out before, now she feels like she has to earn your attention again. That shift makes her lean in. Suddenly, she's the one checking her phone to see if you've messaged. She's the one replaying conversations in her head, wondering what you really meant, wondering if you're thinking about her too. Curiosity also sparks emotion she didn't expect. Instead of feeling in control of the situation, she feels a little unsettled in a good way. When you don't chase, you flip the dynamic. She can't predict you anymore, and unpredictability is exciting. It's what keeps her emotionally engaged. If she never has to think about you because you're always chasing, she takes your attention for granted. But when you pull back, her thoughts circle around you again and again. And here's the beauty of it: you don't have to do anything extra to make this happen. Simply by living your life focusing on your purpose and not chasing, you create the conditions for her curiosity to grow. The silence on your end makes her want to fill it. The absence of constant validation makes her crave it more. Without even realizing it, she begins to miss you, not because you push for it, but because she can't stop wondering about you. Because when you don't chase, she secretly starts to wonder where you are, what you're doing, and why she can't stop thinking about you. When you stop chasing her, one of the most powerful shifts she secretly feels is the recognition of your value. It's easy to forget that value is not something you shout about or prove with endless effort. It's something you demonstrate through your actions, your boundaries, and the way you carry yourself. Most men, when they sense a woman pulling away, try to overcompensate. They shower her with attention, gifts, or constant messages, hoping she'll notice their worth. But ironically, that's when she notices it the least. The more you chase, the less valuable you seem because you're showing that your time, energy, and emotions can be bought cheaply. When you stop chasing, however, the opposite happens. She begins to see that your attention is not something she can take for granted. It's not endless. It's not automatically hers. Instead, she realizes it's something that has to be earned, something she has to qualify for. That realization instantly raises your value in her eyes. It's the same principle in life as with anything rare or scarce. What's not easily available becomes desirable. If you're always there, always waiting, always chasing, you become predictable, and predictability kills attraction. But when you step back and show that your world doesn't revolve around her, you stand out. Value comes from scarcity, but it also comes from self respect. A man who values himself enough not to beg for attention shows that he's already whole. He's not seeking validation to fill a void, he's not asking her to complete him. And that kind of man is rare. Women feel it deeply when a man has that self assurance. It makes them respected, and respect is one of the most powerful building blocks of attraction. Without respect, interest fades. With respect, everything else grows stronger. Another layer to this is how she compares your behavior to what she's used to. If most men in her life chase her when she pulls away, your refusal to do so makes you different. It sets you apart. She notices that you're not willing to lower your standards just for the chance of being with her, and that difference makes her reevaluate you. She begins to realize that maybe she misjudged you, maybe she underestimated your strength, maybe she needs to work harder to earn your attention again. That's a powerful place for you to be in because it shifts the dynamic. Instead of you trying to prove your value to her, she now begins to prove her value to you. She also feels a deeper sense of intrigue. Value isn't only about scarcity, it's about significance. By not chasing, you communicate that your life has meaning and purpose outside of her. You're busy growing, building, creating, living fully. That's attractive because it makes her want to be a part of your world. She sees that being with you is not about filling your emptiness. It's about joining someone who already has direction and strength. And with all of this comes an emotional reaction she might not admit out loud. She starts to miss your attention. When she realizes she doesn't automatically have it anymore, it hits differently. What once felt abundant now feels rare, and the rarity makes it precious. She may even feel a little regret because she begins to understand what she lost when she pulled away. And the more she feels it, the more she values what you bring into her life. Because when you don't chase, she secretly recognizes your worth, and that recognition makes her see you in a way she never did before. When you stop chasing her, another shift takes place that she might not talk about, but definitely feels. The balance of power changes. In the beginning, when you're chasing, she knows exactly where she stands. She feels secure in your attention because you're constantly reminding her of it. Every text, every call, every effort you make puts her in the driver's seat. She becomes the one who decides when to give you attention and when to pull away. That dynamic gives her control, but it also lowers her respect for you. Why? Because deep down, women don't want to lead when it comes to attraction. They want to feel your strength, your composure, and your ability to set the pace. The moment you stop chasing, that dynamic flips. Suddenly, you're not the one trying to keep the connection alive. You're not the one pushing, proving, or persuading. Instead, you stand firm in your own energy. And without saying a word, you send a clear message. I'm not afraid to walk away. I don't need to beg for your time or attention. If you want to be part of my life, it has to be mutual. That shift creates a powerful reaction inside her because it removes the sense of control she once had and places it back where it belongs with the man who leads from strength. At first, she may test you. She may wait to see if you'll break and come chasing again. She might send mixed signals to lure you back into old patterns. But when you remain consistent, when you continue to show that you won't chase, she feels the difference. She feels the weight of your strength and she can't ignore it. The power dynamic now works in your favor, not because you dominate her, but because you've shown you won't sacrifice your dignity for her attention. That kind of self respect commands admiration. This shift in power doesn't make her feel small. Instead, it makes her feel something far more attractive: respect. Women respect men who have standards, who hold boundaries, and don't fold under pressure. When you don't chase, you're telling her through your actions that you won't be controlled by her moods, her silence, or her tests. You're showing that you're the one guiding the interaction. And deep down, she craves that kind of leadership, even if she resists it at first. Another effect of this power shift is emotional engagement. When she feels she no longer has total control, she has to lean in, she has to make more effort, initiate more often, and show her interest through her actions. In other words, she starts investing again. That investment strengthens her feelings because people value what they work for. The less you chase, the more space you create for her to step up. And the more she does, the stronger her attraction becomes. What makes this dynamic so powerful is that it's not about manipulation, it's about authenticity. You're not withholding attention to play a game, you're simply refusing to hand over all your power. You're demonstrating that you won't let your emotions be dictated by her behavior. And when a woman feels that strength, she responds to it. Even if she can't explain it, she feels safer, more drawn in, and more connected to you. So while chasing gives her control and lowers her respect, not chasing shifts the balance back in your favor. It puts you in the position of leadership, the one who sets the pace, the one she looks to with curiosity and admiration. Because when you don't chase, she secretly feels the power shift, and that's what makes her respect you more and want you closer. When you stop chasing her, one of the biggest things she secretly feels is a surge of curiosity and intrigue. When you were always available, always texting, always calling, she knew exactly what to expect from you. There was no mystery, no tension, no reason for her to wonder where she stood. And in relationships, certainty without effort often kills attraction. A woman's emotions thrive on curiosity, on the unknown, on that little edge of mystery that makes her wonder what's going on inside your mind. So when you pull back and stop chasing, she begins to notice that sense of mystery returning. She starts asking herself questions she never had to ask before. Why isn't he calling me like he used to? Who's he spending time with? Is he losing interest? Has he found someone else? And while those questions may sound like signs of insecurity, they're actually signs of attraction being reignited. Curiosity is one of the most powerful emotional drivers, and when she doesn't have all the answers about you anymore, she begins to feel that magnetic pull all over again. The irony is that many men think being open books will win women over. They believe if they constantly reassure her, constantly make themselves available, constantly confess their feelings, she'll feel more secure and therefore more attracted. But in reality, overexposure dulls her excitement. The more she knows you'll always be there, the less she values your presence. That's why when you stop chasing, you create a gap, a space where her imagination starts to work. And imagination is where attraction grows the fastest. Think about it this way: when she has to wonder what you're doing, when she doesn't know exactly when you'll reach out, when she notices you're focused on your own life, her mind can't help but start filling in the blanks. She may imagine you out with friends, building your dreams, or even catching the attention of other women. And that image stirs her emotions. It makes her want to secure a place in your life again. That's why curiosity, once sparked, often leads her to initiate contact, to check in, or to try to pull you closer again. What's important here is that this curiosity isn't about playing games, it's about living your life in a way that naturally creates it. When you're not chasing, it's because you're busy pursuing your purpose, investing in yourself, and enjoying your time. You're not sitting by the phone waiting for a message. You're not rearranging your life just to get her attention. You're already fulfilled, and that fulfillment radiates through your actions. That's what sparks curiosity because she feels that you're not seeking validation from her. You're not needy and you're not predictable. Over time, this curiosity can transform into deeper attraction because now she's the one putting in effort. She's the one wondering. She's the one trying to close the gap you created by stepping back. And when she leans in, she does it with genuine interest, not just out of comfort or habit. That's the difference between forced attention and natural attraction. One fades quickly, the other builds momentum. So when you stop chasing, don't think of it as ignoring her or punishing her. See it as allowing the natural flow of attraction to work in your favor. By pulling back, you give her the space to feel curiosity, to miss you, and to wonder what's on your mind. And that wonder is powerful because when a woman is curious about you, she's already halfway to chasing you herself. Because when you don't chase, she secretly feels curiosity growing stronger. And that curiosity is what keeps her coming back for more. When you stop chasing her, something profound begins to unfold inside her emotions. She feels a mix of longing and desire that she may never openly admit. Women are deeply emotional by nature, and when a man is constantly available, constantly reaching out, and always in her orbit, that longing never has a chance to develop. It's human nature to crave what feels slightly out of reach, and when you step back, you allow her the opportunity to feel that craving for you. Instead of taking your presence for granted, she begins to notice its absence, and in that absence, desire quietly takes root. At first, she may try to brush it off. She might tell herself she doesn't care that you haven't reached out or that she's too busy to think about you. But when the day winds down and silence surrounds her, your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. The texts that don't come, the calls that don't happen, the attention she once took for granted, it all becomes noticeable. And it stirs emotions she didn't expect to feel. She starts to long for the little things, like the way you made her laugh, the way you paid attention to details, or the way you carried yourself with confidence. That longing is powerful because it comes from her, not from your effort. Desire too grows in the space you create. When you stop chasing, you're essentially communicating without words that you know your worth. You're showing her that your life is already full, that you don't need her to feel complete, and that you're not desperate for her validation. That quiet confidence is magnetic. Women are drawn to men who are secure in themselves, men who can walk away if their value isn't recognized. It makes her want to step into your world rather than feeling like you're trying to force your way into hers. And here's the truth: longing and desire cannot be forced. You can't make her feel them by flooding her with attention, by overwhelming her with affection, or by constantly trying to remind her of your worth. Those tactics often have the opposite effect. But when you step back and let her feel the natural consequence of your absence, those emotions rise on their own. She begins to desire your presence, your time, and your energy, not because you begged her for it, but because she genuinely misses it. That kind of desire is authentic, and authenticity is what keeps attraction alive. This longing also fuels her actions. A woman who feels desire is the one who reaches out, who finds reasons to start a conversation, who suddenly wants to make plans, who begins putting an effort to draw you back in. And the best part is when she does this, it's not because you pressured her into it, it's because she truly wants to. That shift changes the entire dynamic of the relationship. Instead of you being the one doing all the chasing, she now feels invested. She feels like she has something to lose if she doesn't make an effort. That's when attraction deepens because both people are contributing to the connection. The key is remembering that this happens naturally. You don't have to manipulate, you don't have to play games, and you don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. You simply have to focus on your own life, stay grounded in your confidence, and allow her the space to feel what she needs to feel. Because when she does, that longing and desire she secretly holds on and will make her see you in a completely different light. Because when you don't chase, she secretly feels a deep longing and desire for you. And that desire is what draws her back closer than ever.